You know what? Man of Steel was actually a pretty good movie, but you know what would have been better? Nicolas Cage's Superman. It could happen one day. Hopefully not. That actually would be like worst idea possible, probably of his career. And no, I just can't handle it. No. In all seriousness, Man of Steel was actually a very good movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly. The fight scenes were pretty good. There was a little worn out at times towards the end, especially with that tentacle scene. I didn't really get that. I don't know. Maybe some sort of Japanese thing. I was just kidding about the Japanese thing. I apologize for that. The character portrayal of Clark Kent and Lois Lane were actually very strong, and I enjoyed watching Amy Adams as Lois Lane. I thought she was actually better than the original. I couldn't actually stand the original version in Christopher Reeve movies. I hated her character. She came out way too headstrong and clueless at times. But Amy Adams is actually a very good Lois Lane, and so is Henry Cavill as Superman. He is basically the closest thing we can get to the next Superman. He's not in the league of Christopher Reeves, but Christopher Reeves is Superman, and it would be in comparison to James Bond as Sean Connery, basically. Those roles are meant for those characters. Robert Downey Jr. as a prime example for Iron Man. Those are examples of perfect character portrayals for actors, and it's hard to replace Christopher Reeves, but Henry Cavill does it very well while making it his own. It's the tone of the movie is more somber, it's more dark and gritty, but yet it has some air of hope to it, and that it's not like Batman Begins, you know. So it has its own thing, and you know what? There's no bullet time in the movie, which I was afraid of while going into it, being a Zack Snyder film. You know, usually there's always bullet time if you watch Watchmen or 300 and Sucker Punch even, and you see the bullet times littered in his films. But yet, I think Christopher Nolan, since he was with Zack Snyder, said, "Hey, may want to ease up on that. You know, it's a Superman film. We don't really need bullet time too much in this," and it actually blended perfectly. One of my favorite scenes was actually seeing Superman fly for the first time, and you can even see the smile of Clark Kent's face as he soars through the air after getting the suit that makes him Superman. I thought that was actually very nice and very well done. And you can even see the debris as he flies off and takes off, and the scenery around him just crumbles a little bit. And I thought that was actually really realistic, but very cool at the same time. And I'm glad they put that in there as a little tidbit. Dialogue at sometimes can be awkward. A key example of this is right after the end of Superman. I'm not going to say what happens, but after that very dramatic scene that Superman does, and he's conflicted with himself. He just goes right towards talking to a general in this little weird gimmicky dialogue, especially when he was talking to General Zod at some points when he's saying, "You're a monster, Zod." I thought that was very unnecessary. Kind of took me out of the experience of the tone that they set up. And the theme of this movie is choice, and and it actually shows through with Clark Kent's flashbacks he has with his stepfather Jonathan Kent and his mother as well, and shows how he can progress through life as the son of Jonathan Kent and becoming learning to become human while coping with all these powers he has. I thought that was really cool, and how they introduced the flashbacks rather instead of just like doing the whole origin story. That was actually very good, and I applaud them for doing that, because we've seen the origin story thousands of times, and to just take the best sections of that origin story and break it up into chunks and chunks and chunks was very refreshing, and it even gives hope for like the sequel of maybe bringing Jonathan Kent back. Maybe we'll show more stuff. However, I have to say the ending of this movie was kind of awkward, because the whole theme is choice, and yet the ending goes against that. Superman is put into a position where there is no choice, and he has to make the decision right then and there. that kind of eliminates the whole theme of the movie you're setting up. So I had very conflicting issues with that, and you can even check it out what I see in the spoiler review of this film. The CGI of this film was actually very well done. The fight scenes were great, but I have to say there was lack of any human consideration in this film while Superman was fighting. There was times when he was fighting in a cornfield, and he brought the battle to Smallville, and I was scratching my head saying, dude, what the fuck? There's people in those buildings. And, it kind of got very weird at some points. And I'm like thinking to myself, he's not even conflicted about him destroying all those buildings. There was probably people in them, especially in the city of Metropolis. The city of Metropolis gets decimated in this film. Oh, to so much of a degree. And also, I have to say that the lack of human consideration is even exemplified more by the ensemble cast, basically, with one of the guys right after Metropolis explodes, and it's like towards the end of the credits, he's like, "Oh, I got tickets to the new Lakers game. Want to go?" I'm like, dude, how are the Lakers even alive? It's like, don't go to a basketball game. You just got your whole fucking city destroyed. Shouldn't you be going to like a grieving counselor or something? And I thought that just kind of was very bad taste, especially after seeing what those characters actually went through during that destruction scene. Overall, I think that there was very good portrayals of the character of Superman until the end. I had conflicting issues with that a lot, and I think a lot of people will too. And Lois Lane in this movie is great. She's headstrong, but yet smart and intelligent, and yet soft at some times. She's comforting, and I thought her character was great. The cast was perfect for this film, simply perfect. And yeah, and I hope that we get more Superman films before we get a crossover for the Justice League. I think they need to build this up a lot more, and they also need to answer the question of how Superman's going to deal with what the decision he made at the end of this film. Oh, I forgot to mention Zod. How did I forget that? Zod is a great villain in this film. I forget the actor's name, but I know he was on Boardwalk Empire for a long time, and he does a very great portrayal of Zod. And Zod is not black and white, which is very fantastic. I thought that that was impossible to do, but yeah, Zod is built for what he does genetically, and I thought that was a cool issue and thing that they made for that film. And having Zod being conflicted of saving his own Kryptonian race in exchange for the lives of humanity was to him like a no-brainer. It would be like if if human beings if it was just me and like 5 other guys and girls or whatever, and we came to a planet full of mice that could talk, right? Those mice would be able to eat, breathe, and think and talk just like us, but they would be mice and they'd be the same size as mice. We'd be like, wait a minute, we could colonize this whole planet and destroy it in exchange for reviving the human race in order to kill all, but we have to kill all these mice in the process. It'd be like a comparison to that kind of, if you think about it through a Kryptonian perspective of us as mice, So I thought that was interesting, and I thought that the whole execution of the movie was very good. And I didn't mind the saturation, the color palette. I thought it went nicely with the tone of the movie that they were setting up. However, dialogue issues were in this movie as well. They didn't quite match up with the tone, and sadly, they didn't go through the theme that they were setting up. So, but the question is Man of Steel worthy of your time, and are you going to go watch it? Well, let me answer it with this. I give Man of Steel an 8.5 out of 10, and that's a very good grade. I thought, the issues I mentioned brought that down a lot, and they could have improved it a lot more, but this is a great summer flick, and it's a good film to take your girlfriend to. I took my girlfriend to it. She likes Superman, so go watch it. Go watch it. Alright, guys. Check out my other video of Superman, Man of Steel, the spoiler talk. I will set it up as a link down below or up here as an annotation. Can I see it? Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, guys. I'm Rob Summerhays signing off, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.